Members of the jury, this plaintiff seeks damages in this action, claiming that the injuries received were due to the negligence of the defendant in the manner of the operation of his automobile. Those of you who are experienced as jurors probably know that there are two cardinal things that must be proven by a plaintiff before that plaintiff can recover in a negligence action. First, it must be established here by a fair preponderance of the evidence that the injuries complained of If there is a failure of proof on these two subjects, the plaintiff cannot recover. On the subject of contributory negligence, I must instruct you that the law views contributory negligence where a child is involved in the action in a different way than where a grown person or a person of mature years is involved. Usually, the view is that if a child has reached the age of 11 to 12 years, it is supposed to be old enough to take care of itself and exercise reasonable care in using the streets. But if a child is younger than that, this child having been about 6 at the time of the accident, then the law imposes upon that child only that degree of care in handling itself which would naturally be attributed to a child of that age and that presumed intelligence and ability. So you must picture in your mind that at the time of the injury, this child was an infant of 6 years of age and only required that amount of care that a child of that age could reasonably be expected to exercise in the circumstances. This child testifies that before leaving the sidewalk, she looked that she had been instructed by her mother always to look to see if any vehicles were approaching before crossing the street. The law requires a person about to cross the roadway to look and see if there is any approaching vehicle, and if there is, either to stop and wait or to use reasonable care and judgment if he attempts to cross, because as a matter of law, it is not negligence for a person to cross a roadway, even if a vehicle is approaching, provided, of course, that vehicle is at such a distance away and acting in such a way that it would be judged reasonably safe and prudent to cross. Those are the two things that this plaintiff has to establish: that she was free from contributory negligence on the basis that I have instructed you, and secondly, that the accident came about solely by reason of the negligence of this defendant. The testimony offered by the plaintiff is that this child was accompanied by her older sister, who was then 10 years of age, and she was heading her or leading her to school. On the way, they decided to stop at a fruit store across the street, and they did cross this roadway, and they had gotten past the center line of the roadway when this vehicle, coming at a high rate of speed, according to witnesses, bore down upon them, swerved, in fact, to the left, reaching over to the south side of the roadway, the southerly curb, so that the vehicle struck the child with its right bumper, according to the witnesses, knocking this child down, and as the car observed, the rear wheel passed over its chest or abdomen, and she sustained injuries. Under the law, the obligation imposed upon a man operating an automobile in the streets of this city is that he is bound to keep a sharp lookout ahead and to observe if anything is in the roadway or crossing the roadway so that he can avoid hitting it. He is bound to travel at such a rate of speed that his machine is under control